Okay, here I am again. Not sure how much I want to indulge because I know that anything right now that I would share is going to sound super freaky, very strange. You're going to think I'm freaking mentally unstable when I share this with you. But I assure you, this is my journey through Morgellons, and I don't believe I've ever shared this with you guys before, although I intended to. I did. I just don't believe I ever have. But it's just like I shared with somebody else. I try so hard to distract my mind from the very topic, even, just so that I can carry on, because I know on a poor man's budget and cannot even afford the healthy diet that may possibly help me rid of this. Is that I choose to distract my very mind from it. So, with that said, I'm going to share with you a little bit how my journey to becoming aware of Morgellons and what I was afflicted with and how it came to be. And please don't judge me, because at the time that I went through all this, I didn't even realize how freaky it sounded, because I'm so used to just being straightforward, direct. I've been through medical school. I've been through all this. I wasn't thinking in the back of my head how it sounded as I told the optometrist or the ER doctors what I had to say. Okay, but upon reflection, I understand it sounds absurd. I get it. I get it. But this is my story. And this is what happened. So please, no judgment, no. Okay, I only share this with you now because it's my hopes that if somebody else is going through it, that you know that I'm in this with you and that you can help determine what it is you're going through, because it's the process that I had to go through. And how it all began for me, first off, was several years ago. Now, God, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago now, I started getting scabies symptoms. And that was not too hard to believe, because we take in a lot of rescues in a high stray area. We try to help the pets. So I initially thought I simply had scabies, and that was treated with permethrin cream over and over and over. My doctor concurred with me. He believed the same thing. We both thought it was just scabies. I took permethrin dip baths. I did the borax. I did the whole nine. Okay, guys? But what happened to me was it all began in my eyes. That's where it really, that may not have been where it initially began. Forgive me. But it's what led me to finally realize what it really was I was going through. It felt like something in my eye. I was trying to get it out. And it was just that small, bothersome little, you want to keep messing with the thing. And I'm one of those, I can't leave crap alone once it starts agitating me like that. So I couldn't leave it alone. And I went to get in the tub. And as I was taking a bath, I decided, well, heck, I hadn't got it out yet, so I'm going to submerge my face in water. Maybe the water will work it out, since apparently my tears hadn't, and it hadn't washed through the tear ducts. So I thought submersing my face in water would be a great idea. Wrong. That's where the freaky stuff started happening. All of a sudden, it was as if a sugary, salty, sandy substance ran through my eyes, poured through my eyes. In immense numbers. I couldn't even tell you. But it wouldn't stop. It was like it was flooding my eyes out, and it would not quit. And I had to try to stop the corner of my eye to even get out of the tub. I had to try to apply pressure, just get it to stop, but it still burned. It still stung. I almost lost my vision due to this. I went to optometrist for like 3 weeks, and I explained to him it felt like a cobweb of metal in my eye. It felt like somebody just, put that tinsel, icicly, Christmas tree stuff in my eyeball. And I was literally like wanting to claw my eye out. And the further I got into treatment, even with the optometrist, it wasn't making it even better. And I'd go to the ER because I was in so much pain. I was in so much distraught. And nobody was helping me fix it. They wanted to give me a psychological evaluation. They wanted to try to ship me up to the loony bin, okay? So I've been through enough there. So like I said, no judgments. I only put my story out there to share with you guys what really happened to me. So in case you're going through it too, that I know you can relate. And so that you'll know what's occurring to you. Okay, but it did. It was like a cobweb of metal in my eye. I'm not lying. I'm not kidding you. That's what it was like. And then that sugary, salty, sandy, burning sensation in my eye. And it would just flood through it. It wouldn't stop. And this went on and on and on, and I couldn't get relief. I couldn't get help. I couldn't even see to research what I had, nor did I have anybody around me that would listen or help me. When I was able to slightly see, it's like I said, I almost lost my vision. They even threatened to sew an eyeball shut. That I began researching when I was able. And initially I thought it was eye parasites or an eye worm. Because I knew that whatever the optometrist was doing wasn't fixing it. I even told him, you're not getting rid of the primary cause. It's never going to go away. Well, eventually I left that optometrist and carried on. And, even my medical doctor, of course, thought I was just insane. Gave a card to my daughter, said, here, send it to the loony bin. Anyhow, I thought it was an eye parasite. And then, as I got to researching, I ran across the Morgellons. I think I'd even ran across Sophia Smallstorm, whatever her name is, and the metals, the aluminums and stuff. And talking about the webs and stuff, as well as other people just talking about the sensations, the sores, and I knew then, it clicked, dawned on me, because of the freaky nature of Morgellons, especially with the fibers. I knew then what I was contending with. I was able to pinpoint it, especially after further validating through a Lyme test with my family practitioner. I was able to test unequivocally positive, which my best understanding from the research I've done, don't quote me, is that 2/3 of Morgellons sufferers, in fact, will test positive for Lyme test, or test positive on a Lyme test. And in Texas, from what my doctor says here in Corpus Christi, that is very rare. He asked me if I had traveled outside the country, etc., etc. I'm like, no, sir, I rarely go anywhere due to my disability. I barely leave the house. So, when he called me back to say I tested unequivocally positive, and it only had it for about 3 weeks, that was all the confirmation I personally needed to validate for myself that I did, in fact, suffer from the affliction known as Morgellons. I won't call it a disease because I'm not going to debate with people. And I keep getting one person in particular, I will not name names, that wants to haunt my threads and keep saying it's not a disease, it's not a disease. Well, you have it. It's chronic as far as I'm concerned. If it's something chronic and an affliction like what Morgellons is, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it's a disease. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't make the affliction of Morgellons, any less worse or traumatic than what it is. So I'm not going to debate whether it's a disease or not with you. That's stupid. Okay, period. I'm simply here sharing my story. All I ask is that you respect that. I'm trying to think anything else that I wanted to share along those lines. Oh, some other freaky stuff that I have yet to share with anybody because, nobody around me is going to listen. But I know that those of you afflicted with it perhaps can share this. I shared with one of you, you know who you are, that it actually, the Morgellons illuminates, like lights up, especially when wet. It loves water, and that they have a tendency, it's like it can dissipate through your skin and one will link to another. It's very freaky. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what they do. And I just recently ran across some videos today, as a matter of fact, about that very subject. That's why I bring it up now. But I've known that. I've known that. Initially, when it happened to me, I could see it as it got wet and how it would illuminate. And it's like I had a crimp line all throughout. I don't care if it was my arms, my legs, what have you. It was like I had this line, illuminated line of Morgellons running down me, and I could see it. And the water would make it worse, and it'd just run off me. You couldn't stop it. I knew it must be highly contagious at that point because you couldn't make it quit. And then even when it dried up, you could still see it. And at one point, it scared the living crap out of me because I was laying in bed one day, and it must have like an electrical component, if I dare say, because this zzz went off in the very forefront of my forehead. I'm just telling it like it is. Like I said, once again, please don't knock me. That's what happened. It was a sensation that went off in my forehead that just, they didn't last long. And I thought, like, what the hell, am I going to die? You know, I didn't know. I was scared to death. I'd never had such a thing occur to me. So if any of you have had or shared that experience and are afraid to say something, please share it with me. You'll make me feel a whole lot better to know I'm not alone in this, because that's what I experienced. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it or, you know, anything for anybody, because this is my story, not yours, and you don't get to knock me. But if you can relate, please comment and let me know, because it would really help me to better cope with things as well. Anyhow, I think I'm going to end it for now. Like I said, I don't even like to talk about the Morgellons much. Oh, crap. I say I want to end this, and then something else comes to mind regarding the Morgellons, because I've told you guys before, I feel like now it's like all but consuming, especially since I haven't been able to eat as healthy as I'd like, everything else. And I shared the swelling of my feet and ankles. Well, that was another thing I say in the beginning with the Morgellons, and it wasn't in the beginning. This is after thinking it was scabies for several years. I went through a spell where there was extreme swelling in my feet, my ankles, and in my hands and my wrist on like 2-3 separate mornings that I woke up. And mind you, I've got back disability. I've had several extensive surgeries, but I knew that wasn't it. I wake up in pain because of that. This was painful and a lot of swelling. A lot of swelling. And it was very abnormal for me. And so I didn't think a whole lot of it. I shrugged it off. And after a couple days, the onset of the whole, ankle and feet swelling dissipated. And then it was the hands. And they felt numb. Well, so I tried my best to ignore that too. Didn't think a whole lot of it. But there was a lot of swelling when the initial onset, especially around that whole eye period when all this happened. And so I find it rather odd and somewhat coincidental, especially now that I'm going through the swelling again. And I'm telling you, I feel like it's all but consuming, because I feel like it's pushing through every pore in me. If I rub, that one video I mentioned using aloe vera gel, it wasn't because so much the swelling, but the dryness and redness, it helps ease the discomfort. Well, at least for me it does. And so I was rubbing it on there. As I did so, it was like this layer of film would come through my pores. And for me, Morgellons has that like plasticky effect. I don't know about for you, but it does for me. I mentioned before I accidentally, had some mucus come off on me, and how it was kind of like having that nail glue stuck to you, and how it dries up and scales up, or dead dry skin. That's kind of like it's like what it's like, and it's like wanting to push through all my pores at this point. And I don't know what that means. I'm not really seeing the fibers as much nowadays. Matter of fact, I haven't seen the fibers at all, nor have I been looking lately. Like I said, once again, I'm trying my best to ignore it. But I am getting this filmy crap coming out of me. I'd love to know if anybody else is going through this, because I'm all on my own here. I'm just doing what little research I can here and there, and doing my best to live day to day and carry on despite it. So if you got something to share with me, please do. You know, I know I'm not in it alone, of course.